Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce that voice who knows how badly we need change, knows what it takes to lead us to a better and greater Texas. Your candidate for governor and my hero, Debra Medina.
So you're just 2 days shy of celebrating my first birthday with me. And we got a birthday present today, did you hear? It's real hard for me to stand still behind the podium. We got a birthday present today. I don't know if you saw the latest poll numbers. And before I share with you that poll, let me say that, thank you, this is so much better. Let me say that we had some objective evidence. I'm a registered nurse. Some of you have heard me talk about, well, I possess the chromosome that makes me female. I don't possess many of the emotions of a female, and I'm a clinician, and I want to deal with facts. I want to deal with fairness and justice and rules, and we're going to follow them. And so when people ask me, well, how do you feel about the debate? I'm like, I'm not into feelings. I want some evidence. And we got some evidence. We had an ethics commission report due, I think it was due January 28th or 9th or 30th, something like that. And it was reflecting the campaign activity from January 1st through the 21st or 22nd. I don't remember the exact date, but it was the first 3 weeks of January. Every campaign in Texas had to submit that report. And the Austin American-Statesman reported, and I think they were the only one who did, some information that might be of interest to you. It was that objective evidence quantifying, qualifying what we were feeling all over Texas. And that is that this campaign received $63,000 in contributions from people who contributed $200 or less. They call those small dollar donors. $63,000. While the Perry and Hutchison campaigns received in that same category 16.
All right.
We did more than 3 times the number of small dollar donors. Ironically enough, we had 1,400 contributors in that 3-week period. 1,400 people made a donation, a financial donation, more than 3 times the number of contributors to K. Bailey Hutchison or Rick Perry's campaign. Those are numbers that win elections.
That's right.
3 times as many votes as the next guy means you win. You win. People keep saying, what about the runoff? I'm saying, there ain't no runoff in Texas. We're going to win this race. I hope you're talking to your state rep and your state senate candidates. I think Texans understand the importance of owning private property.
Come on. Yeah.
First event that I spoke at, and probably almost every event since then, I'm asked, what's the first thing you're going to do when you get in office? And I say that's the wrong question to be asking political candidates. None of them, none of us, has a crystal ball about where we're going to be and what's going to be happening in our state in January of 2011. What we better be asking candidates is, do you understand the difference between policies that protect freedom and those that destroy destroy it. Private property ownership and gun ownership are the essential elements of freedom. They are as critical to freedom as air and water is to life. As a young girl, I remember watching the Olympics, and I remember hearing about this great and powerful nation called Russia. The Soviet Union, for some of you that are younger. Remember how powerful they were. And the government grew, and it grew, and it grew, and it took from its people until they quit working. And a nation that was wealthy in natural resources had famine in the land, and the nation crumbled. Not because they lost her resources, but because she lost her will to work. When the government takes from man, he will quit working. You must own your property if you are going to be free. Once upon a time, there were some men who understood that this government was of the people, by the people, for the people, to protect life, liberty, and property. That's the job of government, and that's what we ought to be asking candidates today. Do you know the difference between things that will keep me free and things that will destroy my freedom? Will you protect my freedom and that of my children? Will you secure private property in Texas? Get rid of property tax. Get rid of property tax and severely curtail the abuse of eminent domain in the state of Texas. I have often thought as I've worked to elect candidates, conservative candidates, and we all know the drill. Conservative, Constitution, limited government, smaller government. We all sing that tune. Every candidate sings that tune, and you and I live under bigger and bigger and bigger government. And I've often thought that we don't recognize the difference between policies that protect and policies that destroy, because they're subtle. I've often said, I think when the isms come to America, socialism, communism, fascism, Marxism, when those isms come to America, we think they're going to come with purple spots. I had the opportunity just recently to interview with a man named Gabriel Bruzon. Mr. Bruzon is the editor of a Spanish language paper in Austin, Texas called El Mundo. And Noe and I, my husband and I, both grew up in South Texas in a little town called Beeville. And there were lots of Bettises and Garcias and Gonzaleses and a few Medinas, but no Bruzons. And I was curious about his name, Gabriel Bruzon. I asked him, he said he was from Cuba. And then I got real curious because he's only 30-something years old, and I wondered how he got out of Cuba. He said he was a Christian missionary to Ecuador, and from Ecuador he immigrated here legally 3 years ago to the United States, and today he publishes a Spanish language newspaper in Austin. And so I asked him, if I were to have taken a picture of you, Gabriel Bruzon, standing on a street in communist dictatorship Cuba, and I took a picture of you today, the man standing on the street in Constitutional Republic, Austin, Texas, tell me what's the difference between that man in Cuba and that man in Austin? And he said the man in Cuba had no dreams. Everything was free. Healthcare was free. Education was free, but we had no dreams. I couldn't plan where I would live or where I would work, where I would go. We had no dreams. And I thought, what a testimony to where we're headed. You take and take and take. You let your government take and take and take. We let our government take and take and take, and we're getting to a place where our children have no dreams.
That's right. Come on.
Private property ownership and gun ownership are the essential elements of freedom. When you get that, you won't ask me, well, what's my sales tax going to be?
That's right.
Because you'll understand that private property ownership is as essential to freedom as air and water is to life, and you will protect property.